Accidents and emergency departments in England have experienced their busiest October on record. It comes as NHS leaders warn the service is heading into winter under more pressure than ever before. There were nearly 2.5 million attendances in A&E in England last month. Almost 50,000 people had to wait more than 12 hours, the third highest monthly figure since records began, and just 73% of patients were seen within 4 hours, well below the target of 95%. Meanwhile, the waiting list for non-urgent treatment fell slightly but remains at almost 7.6 million. A health correspondent, Rebecca Barry, heard the concerns of staff and patients at a hospital in Surrey.
Another relentless day in the emergency department of the Royal Surrey County Hospital in Guildford. Earlier this year, they managed to cut waiting times in A&E thanks to changes like this.
Please come in. Hi.
A consultant now sees patients as they arrive, speeding up care. But unprecedented demand is now increasing delays.
I came up the other day, then there was maybe a 6-hour queue. I was told it's going to be 6 hours, so I didn't bother. I just went straight home.
Here they're currently seeing almost 10% more patients than they did at this time last year, not helped by recent waves of respiratory illness, COVID and sickness bugs. So it doesn't bode well for the even busier winter months ahead.
Obviously, it's with a degree of trepidation that we're going into winter. The numbers that are coming in, that can outweigh the numbers of beds that we have in the hospital, which unfortunately leads to things like overcrowding in an emergency department and sadly corridor care.
Upstairs, keeping patients moving through the system is a never-ending task. Around 10% of their beds are occupied by people well enough to be discharged, but stuck waiting for the ongoing care they need at home.
I hit a car about 60 miles an hour, a couple of somersaults on the floor, shattered my pelvis.
After a motorbike crash, Chris has been in hospital for 2.5 months. Now he can go home, but only because staff have spent weeks making sure his home's adapted and there's follow-up physiotherapy.
You're just in a bed, lifeless almost. You lose all your muscle mass, so you just become so weak.
Bosses here realistic about the tough months ahead.
It can be heartbreaking when you see, particularly when it's really bad, when you see a really full corridor. And I think it's very heartbreaking, demoralising for staff to see that as well. It's not the care we want to give, but it is a reality.
The government insists extra investment announced in the budget will cut waiting lists further and get patients seen faster. Rebecca Barry, ITV News, Guildford.